Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the first ever, first episode of the Prairie Pinfall Podcast. We're your hosts, the Cross Promotion Canadians. I'm Tyler. He's Chris. Welcome. Here, we're going to talk about everything professional wrestling.
How's it going today, Tyler?
Oh, just after War Games, my attention is at war.
No doubt, eh? Yeah, War Games. We just, I think me and you were in the same boat there, eh? We didn't get to watch it last night, so we're just like, it's very fresh in our minds. We just finished watching it right before we hopped on the podcast, eh?
Yeah, absolutely. Time management at its finest.
No doubt. Who needs notes and everything when you just got it all committed right to memory right away, eh?
Clearly, it helps with education, schooling, all that memorization, all that. With that being said,
Yep.
though, what'd you think about War Games?
You know, War Games for me is, it was a fine show. To be clear, everybody's going to think I hate WWE. It's not that. It was a fine show, but it was, I think, a lot of the issues I had with it are really issues I've been having with the WWE product as a whole the last 6 or so months. You know, it was just, there was 4 matches on the show. It was a 3.5-hour show still, filled with ads and stuff, and just like, it was really padded for runtime. It felt like a show that could have been 2.5 hours, but it was 3 hours because it's TKO and they're a massive corporate company and all that. And it's just, it really dragged down the viewing experience. Now, that being said, I was watching it on replay, so I was able to skip a lot of that. But, so I'm not going to complain too much about it because I watched the replay anyways, but you know what I mean, right? Like It's kind of frustrating the pacing of these shows lately, especially when we're only getting 4 matches, right? And I know War Games matches take a lot of time, but that's also part of the issue for me too, is both War Games matches, like the match seems to always follow the same type of,
Formula.
Yeah, the same formula. And so you get 4 matches and 2 of them feel almost exactly the same, besides, one's a woman's match, one's a men's match,
Yeah.
So it was a fine show, but definitely having some reservations about the WWE product.
And let me just say, I was also watching the replay, obviously, and I actually fell for some of their ads because they had 2 really cheesy ads kind of just squished in the middle. One with the New Day, where I thought they were kind of promo, and then there was an ad for one of their mobile games. And then there was another ad with Roxanne Perez, and I was like, oh shit, like a Roxanne Perez promo. No, it was actually just a promo for Xfinity. And that threw me off a little bit. That being said, I think like the matches were okay. There wasn't particularly any match that you were like, oh, that was brutal, right? I did find it a little bit funny with some of the intros to the matches. Like, for example, the very start of War Games, they show Dom walking in, and he looks like a 1980s porno director. He has the mustache, he has the weird suit. It's setting the wrong vibe, I think. And for any of you guys watched War Games with your grandparents or great-grandparents, I really hope they didn't get any PTSD from all those sirens going off early on in the show, because I did find that a little bit excessive.
Definitely, yeah. The whole presentation of War Games is it's pretty formulaic at this point for sure. And they've been using what I think it's War Pigs by Black Sabbath. Like that's been the theme song for War Games for the last 5 years or something. Like it feels like the same show year over year over year, right? Over what was once a really cool concept. The War Games match is awesome. AEW's version of it, the Blood and Guts match, is always really good as well. But it just feels like this year was a step down. I even thought last year's War Games was pretty good too, and I know not everybody was high on it. But this year, it definitely felt like another pay-per-view. Not like the big 4 special pay-per-view Survivor Series is supposed to be.
And I think part of it too is the fact that TKO is trying to pump out more of these pay-per-views just for more revenue, all that kind of stuff too. It's TKO. I really wouldn't be surprised if next year's War Games was sponsored by the U.S. Army.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me in the slightest.
They weren't shy of sponsoring UFC, so why would they be shy about sponsoring WWE now? But either way, let's jump into the first match that started the night, the women's War Game match. How'd you feel about that?
I really did like the match. And again, every performer in this match has been in some way, shape, or form kind of an MVP for WWE this year. Like, and this is like WWE, again, I have a lot of complaints about this year, but the women's division has really not been one of them for the most part. They have really showed out all year. And this was, in a lot of ways, this match was kind of a celebration of that. It was some of the top stars. I mean, Becky Lynch has been doing some of the best character work of her career lately. Io Sky and Maria, their pairing has done great. And, Io Sky was kind of an early start of the year, was kind of the MVP of the company, both, arguably their best in-ring performer overall. Charlotte and Alexa Bliss were an outstanding, have had an outstanding story going for a long time now that has actually made Charlotte interesting for once, right?
I was just gonna say, I think one of the things that I really noticed too, especially with the War Games match, is just the redemption in a lot of these individuals, right? So even entering the year, Charlotte not the most popular, kind of go away type attitude from the crowds, right?
Yeah.
Pair her up with Alexa Bliss. Now she's interested and people love her again, right?
Yeah.
Io Sky and Asuka and Kerry Sane kind of were falling to that point where they're like, why are they here? And then they reinvented themselves, kind of turned Io face again, kept Asuka and Kairi Sane heel, and now they're putting on pretty darn good matches, right?
Yep, and that whole story too with Io and Kyrie and Asuka has been a bright spot on WWE for the last couple months for me. I mean, Kairi Sane is just so entertaining to me. Her facial expressions, the way she just sells the promos and everything. Not being overly willing to join in Asuka's antics right away and stuff like that, but she's kind of being forced into it. It's been very entertaining in the way Kairi has really been able to sell, being torn between her friend Io and her friend and honestly mentor Asuka, who's kind of like the goat of Japanese women's wrestling in a lot of ways. Yeah. And I mean, Asuka as well she's just so entertaining, has so much charisma, even not being able to speak really great English, just the way she uses her movements and stuff and her facial expressions and just being loud and maybe a little annoying at times, but just very entertaining overall. Like she comes off as a very unhinged heel, which is very entertaining, right? And, combine that all with them being outstanding in-ring workers. Like it's been a very fun couple months for that feud for sure.
Absolutely. And I think that's especially since the Vince McMahon era, I guess, or the last end of it. That's one thing that WWE has definitely turned around on, right? With all these non-native English speakers, they're now getting their fair shot. They're now getting their fair share of time and space on both the pay-per-views and regular shows, right? So Asuka is an example of that. Kairi Sane, Vancouver, all of them, right? That's not something we would have seen 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, you can even look at the difference between Asuka being booked during NXT when she was literally unbeaten and like the most over woman on the roster compared to when she got called up and how Vince booked her for a long time. And that's, again, you can absolutely criticize a lot of the things Triple H does, both as a booker and, outside of the company as well. But one thing he has been very good at is not shying away from booking a foreign talent. Yeah. Just because, they don't speak the language, right? I mean, Stephanie Vaquer is a great example of that. Has been, I think I saw they showed the statistic. Stephanie has the most wins on WWE TV this year, which when you think about the fact that she's a rookie still is outstanding. Like it's crazy how high her stock has risen since she's gotten to WWE, and absolutely deserved too. She's been one of their best performers as well. And so, again, a lot of things you can criticize Triple H for. His booking of foreign talent certainly isn't one of them.
No, and I do think the fact that she is one of the first South American WWE champions plays a role in that too, right? Because they're trying to expand markets, all that kind of stuff as well. So booking her as strongly as they have is definitely going to help that. It's definitely going to help her character. It's going to help almost everything. But getting back to the women's war game match in general, I felt like it was kind of off to a slow pace start at first because obviously Charlotte and Asuka started it. But then once Io jumped in with the trash can, all that kind of stuff, it started to pick up and started to get quite a lot more athleticism, a lot more exciting. I don't know if you feel those same sentiments, Chris, but
I definitely agree. Like, and that's War Games in general. Like, I don't think I've seen a War Games match that started fast right away. In that sense, like it's always been a slower match. I feel like definitely when more and more wrestlers start to join is when the pace begins to pick up. And putting Io in at the third spot was such a smart decision because she's just a firecracker. Like, she picks up the pace of a match right away. She is willing to do crazy spots, and like she's known for doing that, especially in War
Yeah.
Games, the trash can lid and stuff. Io has been in every women's War Game match, I believe they said, since WWE started doing it way back in NXT, and it's easy to see why. This is a match type that she thrives in, and every year she seems to be the standout when she's in it. So, yeah, I completely like getting her in early is the smart choice, but not having her be the first one, like letting that pop set in, right away as well, considering she's one of the biggest stars on the women's roster as well. It was a very good choice, I think, to have her coming in second.
I think also just Becky coming in third too
Yep.
is what was another very good choice, right? And I don't know about you, but to me at least, I don't know what costume designer was back there, but whoever it is decided to make her look like Syndrome, and it threw me off because I'm used to her in like normal ring gear, and then she came out with like the black and white Incredibles looking gear, and it threw me off.
That's just her and Seth in general. Like, both of them, whoever they have hired for their costume designer he's eccentric, that's for sure.
And not to mention that, but even Nia Jax comes in third or fourth, right? Her ring gear kind of looks like a discount Buzz Lightyear with the color schemes and everything too. So
Yeah.
kind of going wrapping back to that though, that was one thing that really surprised me about that match is Nia Jax coming in fourth. I was expecting her to come in last. I'll be
Yep.
100% honest with you. But I think they made a very smart decision with that because this was Lash Legends' first ever pay-per-view event. So
Yep.
kind of ease her into it, right?
Yep, definitely. And like, she is still, I've been watching her on NXT for a long time for sure too. And she is still a very raw talent, but there is a ton of talent there. Absolutely. A former WNBA player, like, there's the athleticism there, and she's made a lot of progress over the last several years. Congratulations to her as well. Her and Trick Williams just recently got engaged, which is, you think about that couple and the level of wrestler they could probably have in a couple of years, right? Like, it's shout out to them as well. But yeah, I do like that they're trying to put her over. They're trying to build a new star as well.
Yeah.
Whatever you think about Lash Legend necessarily, she absolutely has all the tools to be a wrestler on the level like a Bianca Belair potentially. So I do like that they're making that effort to put her over as well.
Absolutely. Just generally, I liked the end of the match. How, for example, Asuka accidentally sprayed Lash Legend, and then that kind of threw them into the confusion and all that kind of stuff, which
Yep.
Rhea and all them capitalized on, right?
Yeah, definitely. And then, I mean, giving AJ Lee the win, tapping out Becky Lynch was a great choice. It furthers their feud as well,
Yep.
or could even be seen as like the end of their feud and lets both of them move on to something else now. Maybe a Liv Morgan, for example. I think that'd be a really interesting feud. And you can maybe have Becky move up and go after Stephanie Vaquera, which would really help elevate Stephanie to another level as well. But yeah,
Absolutely.
there's a lot of interesting ways they can take it now if this is the end of a lot of these feuds.
Which, quite honestly, that was one thing I always critiqued WWE growing up with is their ability to take a really, really entertaining feud and then make it not so entertaining just by dragging it out. I saw that so many times growing up. So hopefully for that sake, this is the end of a lot of those feuds so that then these individuals can move on.
I don't know. Do you have anything more on this War Games match, or can we talk about the Cena Dominic match?
Yeah, let's move on to the Dominic and John Cena match.
I thought it was a good match. Again, like, it was fine. It's not like at the level you expected either of these guys to perform at. Like, Cena's really been showing out this last year, and Dom has had one of his better in-ring years, probably his best in-ring year of his career. But I also don't think it's necessarily their fault that the match didn't really live up to it, because it was just really overbooked, I thought. And like, it
Yeah.
was fun, but it was like, man, I would have liked to see these guys just show out a little more just with their own match and not have 6 different people interfere in the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that was one of my issues with it. Once again, I love Dom, love John Cena. They're both very good, very entertaining wrestlers. I think there was just way too many spots. In addition to that, I don't think it really allowed either guy to particularly shine because it was a very finisher heavy match.
Yeah.
I think they executed more AAs and more 619s turned into frog splashes than they did actual regular moves, which
Definitely.
I just feel like it could have been a little bit better. Obviously, we get the interference from Perez and Rodriguez, which is a result of Dom's injury feint.
Which I will say, I did actually like that spot because it was kind of a callback to Penta's injury at the this past Monday on Raw, and so
Yeah,
everybody kind of had that quick gasp and everything, and then it turned into John taking a bump from both Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, which is kind of a cool
yeah,
spot as well. It's just that after that, it was like, okay, let them wrestle a little bit. We don't
yeah,
need Finn and JD to come in as well and stuff, and then the finish can be the same as well. But
yeah.
yeah, I did like that spot.
Yeah, and I will say, like, when that happened, because I'm not the guy to look up spoilers on any social media or anything, I was like, "Oh, no, this is definitely not how John probably wants the second last match to go." I also did like the double AA spot from John, with JD and Finn on his shoulders. Boom, good
Yeah.
Superman moment for him. And then I I've always been a fan of Liv Morgan, so good to see her back. Uh the return, I don't want to say it wasn't expected, especially with the punch and then the sacking, but knowing Liv's character, you kind of knew that it was going to be that feint, right?
No, yeah, 100%, and it was again, it was like, I think it was a good spot, and, her coming in and attacking Dom, it definitely, threw a little bit of a curveball into it. She didn't come out and just instantly interfere in the match,
Yeah,
but, it had you going a little bit like, "Oh, okay, that's it. That's kinda cool, whatever." But it also has you questioning, like, where is the Judgment Day going forward now? Because the whole buildup here has kinda been, oh, Dom is slowly moving more and more towards, something with Roxanne. This is kind of a rehash in a way of, Dom moving more and more towards Liv and, getting away from Rhea, right? So it
yeah,
was kind of looking like that was going to be the story, but now it looks like he's just sticking with Liv again.
yeah,
And
For-
I mean, it's tough to say. Like, we'll probably see more on Monday what the plan is going forward. Obviously, we haven't had a chance to see that tension with Liv and Roxanne yet. And I do think I do think it would be a fun, subversion a little bit if they don't just go with Roxanne stealing Dom from Liv to an extent, because they've already kind of done that story, right?
yeah,
So it would be a fun subversion. It's just, it leaves a lot of questions as to where they're going, because it also leaves the question as, what's happening with Finn, because they've been teasing his turn on Dom and the Judgment Day for over a
months.
year, it feels like now.
Yeah,
And it's never happening, And, as somebody who's a big Finn Balor fan and just wants to see him turn face, get his old music back that's actually good, and, like, turn into, like, he doesn't have to be a world title contender. I get it. He's 45. It's probably past that point. But just to turn into somebody where you're excited to see him wrestle again, and not just, oh no, it's just another Judgment Day segment, right? You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like, it's just, the Judgment Day has been really dragging their heels on this, and, Dom has kind of masked a lot of the problems because he's been such a good performer this
yeah,
year. But the whole Judgment Day story has been going way too long at this
yeah.
point.
Well, and even before Liv's injury, as you said, they were kind of teasing that, oh, he's going to leave her for Roxanne. I really hope it isn't just as simple as that,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I do think the Dom and Liv pair works so well
It does.
because everyone knows that scumbag that's with the crazy girl, right?
Yeah.
And I think it would be a disservice to end that just for the sake of ending it.
Well, and I think part of the reason they want to end it too is because Dom is starting to get cheered and they want to keep him a heel. It's kind of like they're bucking against what the crowd wants him to be, because the crowd wants to turn him face, really. Like, he's getting turned into a face based on just crowd reaction. And it's like WWE doesn't want him to be that, which I get because it fits his character. But getting to see that evolution, him turning into a bit more of a face, like kind of that cheating face, that Eddie Guerrero style face. I know that's a comparison all the time. I mean, the crowd wants it, so I don't know why WWE is just fighting it so much.
I also don't think that him being a heel that's getting cheered is a bad thing. Roman Reigns turned heel, crowd was like, yes, this is finally what we wanted, right? So I
Yeah.
don't think that's necessarily a bad thing that they're cheering him. I just hope they don't oversimplify the writing.
It just,
Speaking of oversimplifying the writing, let's move on to the next match with Victoria and Nikki Bella.
yeah, this was my match of the night, I think. Like, I think overall it was the most entertaining one, just a good wrestling match. And I can't believe I'm saying it about a Nikki Bella match, but I mean, Stephanie McCare is one of the best in-ring performers in the world right now. So it's not a stretch to say that this would be a great match going in. Yeah, I thought it was just a well-wrestled match, and I really enjoyed them. I didn't love the story going into it and how they were telling it. In general, I don't love that Nikki Bella is getting this much spotlight when there's so many others on the roster that should be getting it. But if this is the end of that story and she's going to step away from the title scene now, then this was fine, and it is a good way to put Vaquer over beating an established veteran, I guess. So, but yeah, this was definitely my favorite match of the night for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, like it was a very well wrestled match. Like there was nothing technically wrong with it. And also, as you said, the build up to it was a little bit misfired, right?
It was like they were treating Nikki Bella as somebody she had never been treated as before. Like the way she was talking about how she was so tough because of the era she came up in. Like Nikki Bella was a heel for a majority of her career, and that was never the character she played. And now all of a sudden she's this tough, grizzled veteran when she never played that character before. Like it was just very weird.
And then, not to mention, half the promos were like, "Oh, you never would have survived in my era." I think Vicure and almost all of the women's roster now, 100% would have survived Nikki Bella's era, right?
Oh,
Because
100%.
like, who was the Rhea Ripley in Nikki Bella's era? Kelly?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just it was very weird is just the way I would look at it, but it still gave us a good match. So
I can't help but feel like Nikki Bella, this is her like send off, very much in the same tune that John did his send off. Right, one last big chance at the championship, get some of the younger stars over, and then ride off into the sunset. I don't think that's the case, but I think that would be the ideal case, right?
yeah, and like I can agree with that for sure. I do think Nikki's going to be sticking around for a little while longer. Um, but I do think she's going to slide into a bit more of a part-timer role now. Like she'll be back for the Royal Rumble. She'll probably have a WrestleMania feud, and it'll kind of be like that going forward.
Yeah,
Probably similar to like what AJ Lee's schedule is likely going to be now.
yeah,
I think that's kind of what they're doing with Nikki. It's again, they're treating her like this big star when like she came out to crickets that match. Like
yeah,
she's not viewed as a returning legend in the same way a lot of other returning stars would be. Like, this isn't Trish Stratus coming back. This isn't Lita coming back. This is Nikki Bella. Like, her era wasn't overly enjoyed, and a big part of that era not being enjoyed was the fact that she was one of the ones on top of it, right? You
yeah,
know, you look at that time in wrestling, and there were legitimately good wrestlers in, like, Beth Phoenix and Natalia that never really got an opportunity because Nikki Bella was the one getting pushed. So it's so weird that she's come back and being treated as this returning legend when it seems like nobody in the crowd cares, really.
yeah. And I think generally, like one of the worst things that you can be in wrestling is no reaction, right?
Yep.
Like I take Logan Paul, "We hate you, get out of here" type he over crickets.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
She's kind of just in that awkward spot where like, do we want to see her? I guess, but it's not that AJ Lee type where everyone wants her back immediately,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Speaking of getting back, how about that men's war game match?
To me, this one it had a lot of the issues War Games matches tend to have in that, like, they're really slow to start. Like, the match doesn't fully start until everybody's in the ring, right? So it starts to feel like that first, like, 15 minutes, a guy showing up in the ring every 5 minutes is, like,
Yeah,
almost a waste of time, it kind of feels like. This one specifically, it does all of that. We get like, it takes forever for the action to really pick up, and then it just ends right as soon as the match starts. Like, it never got a chance to kick into that high gear that you expect from a War Games match. Like, War Games is a slow build into, like, maybe a couple peaks throughout, and then, like, it's a sprint right as soon as the match starts, and it's, like, a good 15-minute hard-hitting affair is how it should be booked. And this one was over in, like, was it 5 minutes maybe from the moment
yeah.
Reigns hit the ring that it was over?
I think one of the big things that went wrong with it is like it just kind of felt very one sided up until the start of the match.
Yep.
Like it was essentially just the Vision, Drew, and Logan, which shout out Logan Paul. He has shown quite a bit of improvement.
Yep.
But it was just like a beatdown from those guys onto the babyface faction, and just felt one sided for me. Like it was, we'll see what happens on Monday type deal.
Yeah, this was another match, and like the ending too, with very, very obviously not Seth Rollins coming in and interfering.
Yeah.
Who are your thoughts on that? Because I know who I think it is just based on his body posture. But I'm curious to who you think it is.
Okay, I thought about this too. Who do I likely think it is? I likely think it's Austin Theory.
Okay, that's mine too.
Who do I want it to be? I want it to be Kevin Owens.
Yeah, Owens isn't supposed to be back for like another 6 months, I think.
Yeah, like I don't think it's Owens, but that would be sweet if it was.
That would be awesome. I agree with that for sure. Also, the guy is not built like Kevin Owens at all. Like, buddy would have been putting in the work if he's coming back looking like that.
Another reason why I know it's not Kevin Owens, but in my heart, I want it to be.
Yeah, and me personally, I would love if it was an NXT guy. Like, if it was Trick Williams, that'd be sweet. You know? Like, Trick Williams fits perfectly with the vision. So, like, that's who I would want it to be. But also, that guy's definitely not as tall as Trick Williams is. Trick Williams is like 6'6".
One other thing that I was thinking about too is we saw with the last time is now tournament, Dolph Ziggler come back. What if it's Dolph Ziggler and kind of, oh, I gave and they never gave back, so now it's just my time to come and wreck it.
Yeah. That'd be kind of cool. It'd be a fun change of or swerve, I guess, for it. But yeah, I think we're on the money here, though. I do think it's Austin Theory. I mean, just the way the guy was standing, like he had kind of that very muscular, but his shoulders are kind of hunched forward a little bit. Like it looked like Austin Theory. He almost fits in that Dolph Ziggler role in a sense. Besides the fact that he's probably not as good of a wrestler as Dolph Ziggler, and that he was very early on pushed as like the next future face kind of thing, and then he's kind of just been thrown to the side, right, and not used a whole bunch. And a very talented guy. I don't I'm not a huge fan of him, but it makes sense. And there's also the ties there. I know the Vision has separated itself from Seth, but there's ties there because he was at one point a part of one of Seth's factions. So there's a lot of things that make sense with that for sure.
And then kind of the aftermath of this match, and I was thinking about it. I find it interesting because the Vision was designed to get Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed over, and then Seth Rollins comes in, he takes the spotlight. Seth Rollins gets injured. Okay, now it's time for Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker to get over again, which they both are. But suddenly, wow, Logan Paul comes in, takes that spotlight. Okay, cool. We'll give Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker the win here and finally get them over. Oh, but now there's this mystery guy. So it seems like the whole purpose of the Vision was to get these two guys over. And now they're kind of just playing sideshow to all of these other wrestlers.
Yeah, they just seem to be scared to just fully pull the trigger. Like, Braun Breaker is ready to be a main event threat. But my personal favorite to win the Royal Rumble this year is Sami Zayn. Secondary to that, and the guy who probably should win it, is Braun Breaker. Like, this is the time to pull the trigger on him right now because he's over. He's one of the best performers in the company. He's doing everything right. And I agree with you. It just feels like everything they're doing is slightly pushing to the side. Though, that being said, he was the one to get the win tonight when it could have easily just been Brock Lesnar getting the win again for his team, right? So I will give him that, of course. They did give him the win, even if it was due to interference in some capacity.
Yeah. And kind of going back to that Dom and John Cena match, I felt the same about the Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar confrontation, where it was just finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher after finisher. Yep. It just felt boom, 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 boom. I get it. They're the big guns. They're the big boys. They can take all of it. It just seemed a little bit one-dimensional in that sense.
It felt like both guys kind of phoned it in. They came in, did the hits, and then that was it for them, right?
I don't know if you caught it at the very end of the match, but they're trying to build tension between Roman and Cody and CM Punk and all of them.
Yep.
And obviously, Roman Reigns coming into this match, he was undefeated in War Games matches, and this was actually his first loss.
Yep.
And depending on, I guess, what volume you had your TV on, he goes up to Cody after the match and goes, "This is the last time I'm ever teaming with you," and then walks away. I wonder is that a build up to like a Roman Reigns championship feud with Cody, or is that just like kind of an afterthought, but we need to include it?
Yeah, and I do wonder because this is, I can see both sides of it. This is something Triple H is really good at, is like, even though they're both faces now, there's still tension between them. Like, their feud hasn't just disappeared, right? And it could really mean nothing. Like, I do see a scenario where this means nothing and doesn't result in a match. It is very realistic for Reigns to hold resentment towards Cody and to also be looking at the championships and saying, hey, I want the title back, right? And the same with CM Punk. There's a reason he should have resentment towards Punk in the same way Punk and Cody should have resentment towards Roman and all that. And that is one thing that's very real, and I like that. On the flip side, though, it's got me worried that this could just be leading to another WrestleMania where the main event is Cody versus Roman, which would undoubtedly be great. It'd be a great match and everything, but it's just like everybody at the top is refusing to let the next generation come up and take their place. Like, we got guys like Breaker knocking at the door. Sami Zayn is like, he's been around for a long time, but he's a guy that's like due at least one title reign as well, in my
LA
opinion.
Knight.
LA Knight, LA Knight's time is running up because he's just as old as these guys. Like, he needs that opportunity at some point.
If he's ever going to get it, he needs it right now, right?
Exactly, right? Like, we're running out of time with that, and these guys are just holding on to that top spot. And the world title feud is just a constant revolving door of these same wrestlers. So it's very frustrating if that's the direction they go, even though the feud in the match will be great. Like, you just want to see them start to let other guys take over that spot,
Yeah, absolutely. Does John Cena finally, like, stepping away, give those guys more airtime and more storyline opportunity for those championships, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think of it too, and part of the reason this frustrates me is I look at probably my favorite weekly WWE show right now, NXT, and the amount of talent on that show. They're walking into a main roster, a lot of those guys, where there's almost no room for them. Obafemi should be coming into the roster and be like a threat right away, but it's like, where's there room for him right now? These guys just holding onto their spot over and over again and kind of clogging up that main event scene. I'm not saying these guys shouldn't be main eventing or having major feuds or anything like that, but it's like the title scene has become so stale in WWE lately because it's just the same guys over and over again. And, even if the matches are good, even if like the story is told is good, it's just like, I'd like to see some new people there. And like Braun Breaker's one of those guys that I 100% want to see there. It's just like, how is he going to get that opportunity when Cody and Roman have it locked?
I think that's one thing that's very interesting too, because for the longest time we wanted WWE to give guys like Cody, guys like Punk one last run. Now they've gone that, and now we got the nostalgia out. We got the American Nightmare finally accomplish his lifelong goal. He's obviously not near retiring, but does he take a John Cena route and go after the US title or the Intercontinental title? So then a guy like either LA Knight or like Obafemi or whoever it is gets that higher up push, right?
Yeah, it's just, to me, I look at this and like I 100% think like nowadays WWE booking is a lot better than most of the stuff Vince did through like the mid to late 2000s a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Outside of like early ruthless aggression era. But I look at at that time they had guys like Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker who were sometimes in title feuds, but a lot of the time they were just in a featured program separate from the title. And and they're like main eventers, but they're in separate programs from the title. And I'm like, who is filling that role right now as a main eventer that's not involved with the title really? And it's like, not really anybody. Like the closest they have is Gunther, but he's always portrayed as like a step below that Cody and Cena tier. So it's like, I would love to see Cody step away from the title a little bit and just start having these blood feuds with guys away from the title, just to open up that room in the title scene a little bit, right? And same with Roman. I mean, Roman kind of has been for the last bit of the year. I will give him credit for that since he's lost the title. He's been away from it. But it's like, it's just the title scene has gotten very stale, is kind of where I keep coming back to.
And I do think that they have the depth if they want to, say, turn a Cody or turn Roman or turn even a Brock into like a secondary entertaining feud, but let other guys take the spotlight, right? They have that depth. It's just a matter of, are they going to pull the trigger on that, right?
Yep. Yeah, and the other thing I will add to this as well is like I can't 100% say that they aren't putting new guys into that spot, because I don't think you can argue against Jey Uso not being a new guy in that scene challenging for those titles. Absolutely. Right? Like, this is the first year he has been. Now it's just a matter of, we're all sick of Jey Uso is essentially what it is, right? I know the live crowds aren't, obviously. It's fun to do the like this thing or whatever, right? Yeah. But I can definitely see that they are putting Uso in that spot. And like I said, Breaker is knocking on the door. Assuming Gunther wins the last time is now tournament, he's likely knocking on the door as well, and hopefully he becomes a permanent fixture at that level. But it's just like, I am worried because these guys have not shown a willingness to give up that spot, and I feel like it's just going to create a logjam, and a lot of guys are going to get screwed because of it.
it might go back to that like early 2010s WWE where there was that logjam and guys just simply didn't get the chance. Like Ty Dillinger, Shinsuke Nakamura, like all these guys
Finn
who
Balor
Finn Balor, although Finn Balor did get that main event push and then immediately got injured, and that kind of stopped all of
never
it.
got another opportunity again, which is, oh man, Vince McMahon was a wrestling war criminal. Like, oh my god.
But no, either way, it's definitely going to be interesting to see the outcome of this.
Yeah. Anyways, we've talked a lot about war games, but there is one other big event coming up. I think we should probably jump in and talk about a little bit as well, and that's the Last Time Is Now tournament.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this tournament? Eh?
Yeah. I think with John Cena's Last Time Is Now tournament, I'll be honest with you, Chris, I had a little bit more expectation than what it's come out to be, right? Because it's supposed to be a mix of the young and of the new and of the rivals and of the surprising. Obviously, Penta gets hurt in second round. Miz loses out. One of John Cena's greatest rivals loses out in the first round. Sheamus, one of John Cena's other great rivals, loses out, gets hurt and has to get replaced. Who replaces him? The Miz, who immediately then loses again. Do I disagree with some of the choices? Absolutely. It's not looking too hot. I'm not super excited about a Gunther and Solo Sikoa quarterfinal, and then the other quarterfinal either, right? Like,
Yeah, like because who's still left? It's Jay and LA Knight, right? On the one
yeah,
side.
yeah,
Yeah, and then Gunther Sikoa, like, you know what? Gunther can get out there with a broomstick and put on a 5-star classic. So, like, I'm not too worried about that match necessarily. And Solo has been, he's a sneakily one of the more entertaining guys on the roster for me nowadays, especially because he's playing more to his comedy side and stuff. So I think that can be a very funny match, and it's going to be a good match because Gunther's wrestling it. But, like, I don't want to see Gunther Jey Uso again. We've seen enough of it. I don't want the risk of Jey Uso beating Gunther again to come out because, like, that just doesn't appeal to me at all. I would much rather see LA Knight Gunther in the main event because I don't know if that match has happened off the top of my head,
I don't think it has.
and it would be entertaining. So I actually don't mind that. And then, like, the nice thing with that too is either one of those guys could win and it would make sense and it'd be entertaining because it's pretty obvious that Gunther is going to be the guy they want to retire Cena, and that's fine. Gunther's my favorite wrestler on the roster. I think he's the best overall wrestler on the roster. So, like, giving him that rub isn't a bad thing to me. But also, like we talked about, LA Knight is, running out of time almost. So giving him that win over Cena, leading into maybe, a Royal Rumble win and a big moment at WrestleMania would be a really cool story as well.
Yeah,
So, but yeah, this tournament to me has felt like the entire retirement tour in a way, in the fact that there's been big moments surrounded by just kind of mediocrity in a way. The
yeah.
heel turn was a big moment, but then they didn't execute it on it well. They ended the heel turn just randomly for no reason with
On
Cena.
a random Friday night SmackDown.
Yeah, but then it was followed by an incredible match between Cody and Cena. So then, like, there was the random Brock Lesnar showing up and beating Cena because reasons. There's been a lot of really cool moments surrounded by a lot of mediocrity, and this tournament has been very much the same way. The
Yeah.
returns of Ziggler, the return of Zack Ryder.
Javon Evans had a good match with Gunther too, right?
Well,
Tough
yeah,
match.
every match Gunther's wrestled so far, his match with Javon and with Carmelo Hayes were both outstanding. So it's like, there's been its moments for sure, but it's just, yeah, I don't know. I haven't loved it.
At least in my perspective, every opponent outside of Gunther could, because let's face it, I I came in hoping it wasn't going to be Gunther because that would be too predictable. But now I know it's going to be Gunther, right? And
I'd rather Gunther than Jey Uso, that's for sure.
yeah, does LA Knight get that rub? And then finally, that's what pushes him to getting that main event push,
Yeah.
right?
Like, if they put LA Knight over Cena, they have to commit to the push, right?
Yeah,
And I think that's the one thing that is important with this tournament. Whoever they have win, they kind of have to commit to, right? Or it's wasted. So
yeah.
that's why
And
I'm fine with it being Gunther, and I'm fine with it being Knight. Hell, I would have, if he didn't get hurt, a Penta winning and retiring Cena would have been kind of cool. It'd be so
yeah,
out of nowhere. He's absolutely earned it because he's been such a bright spot on WWE TV. But, like, it would have been cool,
I also think even like a Carmelo Hayes
Mm-hmm.
coming out and getting that,
Javon Evans, like,
yeah, like and that's what they kind of pushed us as, is like a, like anyone, anytime, anywhere.
Yeah.
And then now it's more or less four usual suspects.
The big problem there too is that they added Gunther to the tournament. I think, me personally, booking Gunther properly, if you put him in the tournament, you have to have him at least make the final, if not win it. Because you
Yeah,
can't have him come out and lose to a rookie Javon Evans right away. That,
yeah.
again, it doesn't necessarily hurt Gunther, but like, he was out for so long and he's just returning. He comes back with his old NXT UK theme music, the absolute banger boss music that he's got. Like, it's like, this guy has so much aura, and I know I sound like I'm 16 saying that, but seriously, like, this guy is built like a final boss in every way possible, and he's also the best wrestler on the roster. Like, sorry, I'm getting off track here. I really like Gunther, is what I'm trying to say.
You have
So,
a lot of Gunther glaze, that's for sure.
yeah, 100%. But it's as soon as you add him to the tournament, you have to have him make it far and possibly win because of the context surrounding him not being around and how he came back and everything, right?
Part of it too is just, I would have almost rather him not even been in the tournament and just either fully healed or gone after either Cody or CM Punk.
Or return at the Royal Rumble, which is just another month away.
I think by kind of putting him in this tournament, they pigeonholed themselves where he now needs to win it.
Yeah, exactly.
I think a tournament like this could have been really, really good for either one of John Cena's arch rivals, be it a Miz, a Sheamus, Dolph Ziggler, or one of the young guys like a Carmelo Hayes, like a Javon Evans. I think those are the two main things that I wanted to see out of this tournament, and neither will happen now, right?
My hot take is that every single person in this tournament should have been from NXT. I think every single one. You end it with Obafemi winning and retiring Cena. Perfect. That's exactly what you want.
Well, and that makes so much more sense too, right? Because that's
Yeah.
exactly how John Cena started.
Yeah.
Right? He came out of
And I know,
nowhere and got a big push.
and I know they're kind of doing that anyways. Saturday night's main event. Like, I actually am really excited for this show because they're doing every match is NXT versus main roster, right? So that is going to be really cool. And I am excited for the show. It's just like, why couldn't we have had, an NXT wrestler versus Cena as well? Like, why couldn't make the whole tournament NXT focused? Because, like, one of the big problems with NXT lately is that it feels like a lot of the main roster fans don't watch it. So these new guys get called up and they have no idea who they are a lot of the time.
Yeah,
There's exceptions to the rule, obviously, but most people don't know who these guys getting called up for. And so they kind of have to start from square one. So it's a perfect opportunity to actually showcase these guys, maybe get more eyes on NXT.
yeah,
So all these really talented members aren't coming up to the roster and like starting from square one again, right?
absolutely.
And I mean, Obafemi's going to come up and he's going to instantly get over because he's a massive monster of a man
Yeah,
who is such an incredible in-ring worker. But a guy like Miles Bourne, for example, who's been really good on NXT for quite a few months, is going to struggle quite a bit. Ricky Saints is going to struggle quite a bit, except for the fact that he's Cody's friend, so he's always going to have a spot. But,
yeah. And
like stuff like that, right?
I think that one other guy that they've done really well with kind of slowly integrating is Ethan Page, right?
Yeah.
His whole shtick with Chelsea Green and their AAA mixed tag team championships, they're slowly easing that into hey, you're going to see this guy soon enough.
Yeah. And my hot take, and, we're really getting away from where we started here, but
Yeah,
my hot take with Ethan Page is he's straight up been the best male wrestler on the roster this past year. He's
yeah.
had such an incredible year.
Even going back to his time in AEW, I loved him in AEW.
Yeah. He is that perfect heir almost to, the Miz style of heel.
Yeah,
Only I think Ethan Page like might be even better than the Miz, isn't that? Yeah. But anyways, we're getting away from the topic a little bit. The last
yeah,
time is now tournament. Obviously, we kind of gave our thoughts on it, and it is exciting. And I think Gunther winning and going over Cena will be fine. It's just there obviously were some other options that would have been a little more
yeah,
interesting, I guess, is kind of the point we're getting at.
yeah. And I think just generally, there could have been a little bit less predictability. And
Yeah.
it's not necessarily like Gunther needed that rub. There's a lot of other guys that definitely could have benefited more from it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's those are kind of my thoughts on John Cena's The Last Time Is Now tournament. Again, it's fine. There's been some cool moments, but definitely a bit of a letdown, and especially a bit of a letdown when it's going to be compared to another tournament that is just starting right now. And here's a little bit of a teaser for you guys for next week. AEW's Continental Classic has just started. I'm a massive AEW mark. I'm not afraid to say it. And the amount of intertwining storylines and just banger matches we're going to get on that show. Tony Khan books for the sickos. We all know it. And this is it's going to be so much fun. And just comparing it to the Last Time Is Now tournament, it makes me feel like even more of a letdown in a lot of ways, because you see what a tournament can really look like. But that's getting away from this week, and that's more of a next week talk for sure, Tyler.
Absolutely. And as you said, it's going to be 9-day. But with that being said, that's all of our mic work for this week. So make sure you tune in next week, because we'll talk a lot more AEW, and we're going to talk everything Continental Classic plus more.
Yeah. Don't miss a spot.
Have a great one. We'll see you next week.